Hi, my name is Megan Colburn. I am a sophomore here at Hobart and Lindsmith Colleges, and I've been working at the TRC since fall of my first year on campus.
Hi, my name is Lin and I'm a senior at Hobart and Lindsmith Colleges. I started working for Technology Resource Center since the fall of my junior year.
As Tech Fellows, we are working directly with the students and in the classes, so we take what the professors want and we kind of help the students, so starting from the basics with tutorials on the different software that they're required to use. We go in and give tutorials and kind of have the interactive workshop kind of thing if we find that the class needs that. So there's some pieces of software that generally most students have already worked with, and there's others where they kind of need the entire thing from the beginning. So we give a hands-on workshop, but we also create tutorials that they can print out and kind of have on hand while they're doing the actual projects for basic questions that we find come up a lot. So those are two things I think are most helpful for the students as far as actually using the technology. Also, as Tech Fellows, it's our responsibility to be available and meet with the students if they need more help beyond what we gave in the tutorial or the workshop session. We make ourselves available in a variety of ways, and we also make sure to give them the basics for everything that they need. So I think that our role as Tech Fellows is incredibly useful to the Technology Resource Center and how it functions. We're, in a sense, we're an extension of the full-time staff, so we help not only in the fact that there's more physical bodies to help with classes, and we do bring that unique perspective of a student to the Technology Resource Center, and I think that it really helps with the function of the center as a whole.
One example of my job as a Tech Fellow would be time when I was actually in the class. The class was Architecture Portfolio, and the class requires knowledge in design and Photoshop. Being a Tech Fellow, I was able to give workshop for the class in design and Photoshop, and at the same time give them ongoing support on the software.
This past fall, I worked with our Introduction to Media and Society classes. There was 3 classes, so 3 professors, and about 90 students, and their project they were working on for the semester was to create a podcast based on new media. So they each kind of had their own category of new media, and then had to come up with a 5 to 10 minute podcast talking about the actual form of new media, but also how it applies to society. I had actually taken the class the spring prior to this last semester, so I had just gotten done doing the project myself, which certainly helped because I already had like the basic knowledge of what they were going to be doing. So the first time I met with the classes, I just kind of gave an introduction of myself and how I'm going to be helping with the projects, and then just kind of gave a tutorial, so to speak, of GarageBand and how they would be using it for that particular project. And then over the course of the semester, I met with each group, so I met with almost every one of the 90 students at some point or another, and worked on particulars for their podcasts as well as the overall concepts they were trying to portray. And so not only was I helping them with the technology aspect of it, but because I was a student in the class before, I could help them with the content of their podcast as a whole. So I actually found that about, I'd say 70% of the students came in with questions about the content and what they should put in their podcast, even before they had even started the podcast itself.
A Tech Fellow, I get a lot of different feedback from students and professors at the same time, and that allowed me to get a better understanding of what students and professors want out of their learning experience.
I think that having the perspective of the student, the first-hand perspective of a student, certainly helps us do our jobs, and mostly because we can relate to the students. We can help them not only because maybe we've had the professor before and we can kind of give them some advice as far as what they expect, but also there's just the general expectations of a student here on campus that kind of cross over all categories of classrooms. I think to add to that, I think many students are simply more comfortable talking to their peers and other students rather than having to go ask, this guy in technology kind of thing, and they can kind of just walk in and talk to us, and I think it's just easier for them to ask questions and they feel more comfortable sometimes.
Being a tech fellow, we have many roles in the classroom, and part of the challenge is for us to keep them separate and balanced, and not let our tech fellow responsibility overshadow our responsibility as a student.
So first and foremost is our responsibility as students here at on campus, and I think that's one of the most important things to address both to the professors and the students when you first start working with them. I think a lot of times that both students and professors can forget that you are still a student, you are still taking 4 classes, you have responsibilities outside of your job as a tech fellow. I find one of the most challenging aspects of being a tech fellow is balancing our different roles. So obviously our primary responsibility here on campus is that of a student. So, but we also, we are working with professors and in a role that's still a student, but in a way that we're working professionally with them and we're helping them in their own classroom. So that's kind of, it becomes challenging sometimes, especially if you have the professor that semester. So you have to separate your time as a student with them and the time that you're with them helping them with a particular class. So as much as the Tech Fellow program benefits the students and faculty on campus, I think it really gives a lot back to us as Tech Fellows. I think the job experience that we get out of it is something that we can take with us far beyond college. Just time management skills, we multitask, we're always coming up with more efficient ways of doing things and thinking of new and creative, better ideas, I guess. And then also being able to work with so many different levels, so we're getting a variety of perspectives and seeing how everything kind of comes together and works as a whole, and we're helping not only the students but also the faculty to work together.
So Megan, explain to me why you would want to take this job over a desk job where you can get your homework done.
I think that as demanding as this job is and how much it requires of us as tech fellows, I think that what we get out of it in the long run just is so much more beneficial to us and makes it all worth it.
Good.